Hello, welcome Joel Stewart to this weird podcast that I got going called Questions and Actor with Laurent Pitre. Welcome to the podcast. Can you tell us a bit about who are you,
Who?
first off?
Well, that's a question I ask myself daily, and,
Uh-huh.
and it changes. Uh,
Mm,
I've been working in television for a long time,
hmm
and doing stuff like that. Uh, Now the television has changed. I do some stuff for corporations, and enjoy some of that. And I recently made a movie, and that's where I met you.
Right, exactly. Yeah, we made a movie called Souls Road coming out very soon with Dallas Smith in it and Camille Staves and Josh Collins and just too
Char-
many wonderful
Charlie
people to name.
Gillespie. Charlie
Charlie
Gillespie.
Gillespie, yes, what a
Yes.
what a hunk of a human and a incredible improviser. Overall joy. He brought his dog all the way to Alberta to just what a
Yes.
human, an amazing a group of people you put together, both cast and crew. It was awesome. So yeah, that kind of scratches the surface on who you are. What and you kind of talked about like what you do, but what do you think makes you do your best work? What do you find inspires you?
Wow, that's so interesting. This is such a weird thing that we do with
Hmm
with our lives and careers. We say this is what I think. This is a perfect vision of something that I have in my head. I'm presenting it to you, and then people rip you apart for it. Um, you know, the word no and all that. What inspires me? What makes me do my best work? It's not solitude. It's not My best work is usually with a team,
Mm.
where good ideas become better ideas, and we don't necessarily care where that idea came from, if
Mm.
it's the best idea.
Best idea.
Um, you know, uh, I think there just has to be, you do your best work when you're joyful about it. And,
Mm.
and I think that goes beyond anything artistic or anything like that. I think, if I'm working at a Home Depot and if I enjoy it and go about it with joy, uh, then that's when I do my best work.
Wow. Okay. Well, that makes me sort of think on your origin story, right? You're asking, did you ever work at Home Depot? Where did you begin? Where did you begin this journey of becoming a storyteller in so many different genres, from music videos to television specials to a feature film to some theater? To tell me about where did it begin for you?
Man, it's such a thing where you go,
Yeah.
and then it all reconnects.
Yeah.
Now, where did it begin? It began in my mother's womb. My mother had a television show in Ottawa
Oh wow.
in the mid 60s. Think of
Oh
that. That's
wow.
quite pioneering. And there are no tapes of it anywhere. There is no, uh,
No
but it was
way.
one of those things like, here's what you can do with arts and crafts for Halloween for the kids, stuff like that. It
Wow.
was special guests, and they're talking, and it was mom and some of her co-hosts included Lloyd Robertson for a while, Alex
Wow.
Trebek for a little
Whoa.
while. He was at CBC Ottawa. So mom was pregnant with me. Um, I believe she trotted me out to say this is where I was for a few weeks, and she did that for many years. So, and then dad worked for the CBC in the public relations department, but at night he was very involved with the Ottawa Little Theater, and he was a
Mm.
director, and he was a wonderful actor, and he had this great singing voice. And
Mm.
Saturday mornings in our home, I was the youngest of four boys, and we'd always be awoken by Broadway music coming from the living room, show
Wow.
tunes, like the Man
Mm-hmm.
of La Mancha, you know.
Mm.
I am Sancho, yes, Dad could never play Don Quixote, but he could play Sancho, you know.
Wow.
But we were raised with that music and I thought people sang out loud all the time.
Uh-huh. Yeah, you grew up in a very wild normal, right?
Yeah, and we were
Wow.
Mormon, you know.
No way.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Really?
okay. Okay. Yes,
We
we
can
are.
unpack that. I played in a Mormon TV series, and I'm pretty sure it's very different than your childhood because it turned very dark very fast.
Yes,
But
yes.
tell me about that. So you grew up in a Mormon household? I had no idea.
Well, that's if Mom, if you're watching this, that doesn't mean I was doing lots of un-Mormon things when we were making the movie.
Yes. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Not at all.
Wow.
But uh, yeah, Mom and Dad converted, had all these Mormon. My mother being an Italian,
Wow.
my dad being a Scottish Presbyterian.
Wow.
They found each other as young converts in Mormonism and started a
Wow.
family, and it was a wonderful way to grow up. But so Dad was doing all this theater stuff. He's very
Yeah.
involved in the church. Oh, and Dad was a bishop for a while in our
Wow.
church, so he was
Right.
very busy. When you're a bishop in the Mormon Church, here's a fun Canadian theater fact. Uh, you can perform marriages uh,
Wow.
legally. And one of the people he married was Michael Burgess, the great
Wow.
Canadian stage actor. Dad didn't marry him; he performed the ceremony.
Right.
But Dad actually cast Michael Burgess in his first roles back in what?
Wow. There you
Yeah,
go. It gave him a start,
yeah.
which you've kind of touched upon in our various conversations, but I want to know more about your, we talked a little bit about who you are, where it sort of began, when it sort of began, what you do, what makes you do your best work. Why do you do what you do? Like, where does that come from?
I'm going to quote a friend of mine who I was having lunch with. This guy, he actually produced a show I worked on a couple decades ago for National Geographic. Anyway, it's still nice to people stay in touch. Anyway, so I was telling him I'm making a new album. And I was like, I don't know why. No one's going to hear it. Blah, 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 blah. It costs money. And he said, and this is the answer to your question, but I'm just
Yeah.
giving him the credit. He said, I have two full galleries of two unique art shows that I've never been able to put on anywhere, but I
Mm.
did them because I
Mm.
had to. So I do these things because I have to, and I'm kind of like lazy and picky. Like I'm not one of these people who's chasing my next gig.
Right.
You know, I there's things I want to do and things I don't want to do. You know,
Mm.
and I really wanted to make that movie. We really made that movie, and I think we
Mm.
did a great job on it. And and then it was kind of like okay, and and then you do other things, and then I got really focused on this album that no one's going to hear, but I have to make it.
Mm-hmm.
And now that that is all in the mixing phase and all tracked,
Yeah.
there's another thing I've just been dialed into, and I'm like, well, no one's going to see this, and no one's going to buy this, and da 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 da. Well, I'm going to finish it because I have to.
I love that.
You know,
You feel pulled to your purpose without you're not so much focused on the end result or whether it's going to be received well or whatever. It's you're drawn by the project or the process without a kind of um you're not putting any value on whether or not it's going to be well received. Is that kind of what I'm hearing?
well, I want people to love it, but
Yes.
I'm not caring about the and we all want our stuff to be seen. But
Yes.
if we're writing a book, we
Hmm.
don't know how to market the book. We don't know how to. We might not have a budget to do that. We may not, it. But the book, if you can control how good the book is.
Right.
You can't often control what happens to the book. You
Mm.
know, I did what I thought was a television show that had the potential to be the next Duck Dynasty, and I did a season of it.
This is Mississippi Snake Grabbers, am I right?
Yes, Mississippi Snake Grabbers. And
I saw it. Yeah, I saw a couple of episodes while researching.
oh,
Incredible. So
oh,
cool, man.
oh, wow. Okay, okay.
Tell
I'm
us
quite,
about tell us a bit about Mississippi Snake Grabbers. If you have not checked it out, it's worth checking out. It's definitely got that Duck Dynasty feel to it. Tell me about that. How was that?
oh, it was one of the most amazing experiences of my life. We were down
Wow.
in Mississippi for 2 summers, but I'm going to back it up just a little bit
Yes,
because
please,
everything
please.
is a story, of course.
Yes.
So I was doing I was working in country music television. We were doing a travel food kind of adventure show featuring a country singer named Jason McCoy, and we were doing it, and I got to pick the 6 states that we did, and I picked a bunch that I hadn't been to, and one was Mississippi,
Mm.
and we're in Clarksdale, Mississippi, birthplace of the blues, and we're working really hard, and loyal crew that I've worked with for tens and 20 years, some of them, and a small group, a very loyal group, but we're just bust. And Morgan Freeman has a bar in Clarksdale, Mississippi.
Oh, wow.
And so the guys, let's just go in, let's have a quick shot. Let's just 10 minutes.
Hmm.
We should just look at each other, put our cameras down. When are we ever coming back to Mississippi?
Yeah.
We have a quick shot, boom. We're at Route 66 is right there. We go to Pelahatchie, Mississippi with Jason for the food show. He's going to do the 72-ounce steak challenge. The cameras are coming from CMT, so the restaurant's full at
Wow.
Duke's Restaurant. And everyone's, oh, hey, the mayor, Ross Knox. Never could say it right. Anyway, he's in episode 1 of Mississippi Steak Grabbers, by the way.
Okay.
Anyway, so these guys come in, they're, hey, how you doing? Yeah, blah, blah, blah. You're the director. I'm like, yeah, and they're giving like camo hats and shirts, and I'm like, oh, hey, this is great. They're handing me DVD. I'm like, oh yeah, what? I said, I don't really have time to. Yeah, and I didn't know what they were saying, man. And anyway, very kind, but I had to shoot the scene and do that stuff that I was there to do.
Hmm.
And the crowd dispersing. I'm settling up with the lovely lady who owns the place. And I said, oh, those guys were really your friends who gave the very nice. What's the deal there? What Mrs. Snake grabbing? Grab you one outfitters they were called. Grab you one. Oh, well, they grab snakes with their hands for fun. And I said, oh. I said, well, instead of fishing, they're kind of like rock stars around here. I said, really?
Wow.
I said, why do they do that? Well, they have high stress jobs. A lot of them work for the Mississippi Bureau of Narcotics and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, now you have my full attention. They're
Hmm.
all in law enforcement, and then they have a few pops, and then they go down and grab some snakes and then put them back in the water. And you get bit. You always get bit. So, of course, at that time in broadcast, everyone's looking for their own Duck Dynasty. Blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. My boss was saw the potential in it. Blah, blah, blah. My boss has a boss, and his boss has a boss, and you know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
But anyway, the thing didn't come back for a season 2. Ended up being like a uh, really dark moment as I watched the show get changed by people,
Hmm.
network executives. And it's like,
Right.
okay, well, what are you going to do to market it?
Mm.
If this show is going to fail, which I'll call it a failure, not an artistic failure, but
A
one
learning
and done,
experience.
a one and done experience.
Yeah.
There was no season 2. Well,
Right.
it could have been, I could have given them Breaking Bad, but they didn't market it. I also
Mm.
could have given them something horrible that could have succeeded with marketing. I mean, so
Right.
much of all of this is so we can only control the part we can control. But my point is,
Mm.
I beat myself up so badly over that experience.
Oh.
And then I finally went, well, yeah, man, we spent a couple $1,000,000 on the series and $20,000 on one billboard.
Mm. Absolutely.
What did we
Right.
expect to have? And then we
Right.
ran it against a hockey game. It was like the time
Mm.
slot, like nothing made sense. Uh,
Mm.
and those weren't my decisions.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying we should blame other people for our failures in any way.
Mm-mm.
But if it was to fail, I wish it was my vision, my entire vision of the show that failed and not the one
Right.
that shifted,
Do you
you know.
feel like you brought any of those lessons that you got from that show to then projects that you did further on or even Souls Road? Do you feel like you wanted to come into new projects with like some newfound wisdoms there?
I think every day, every
Mm-hmm.
day. And I think what experience gives you is the ability to anticipate. Oh,
Mm.
I saw this little thing before, and it turned into this other thing, but I
Mm.
didn't realize it was a tiny thing first. And then if you can see that tiny thing and stop that tiny thing from happening again, that's what experience is, because we're
Mm.
in such a process business and it's such a collaborative business
Right.
that, hey, I think we're making a mistake here. And I know why, because I made that mistake 8 times. So let's
Mm.
just pivot and, the corporate word pivot,
Yeah.
but if that makes any sense at all.
Right. So do you feel like as a filmmaker or as a director, part of your job is to anticipate problems or problem solve, that kind of thing?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's most of the job.
Mm.
I loved when Tom Hanks directed that movie called That Thing You Do because I really liked the movie. But every time he did an interview, he said, I didn't realize that when you're a director, you just get asked questions all day long. You know?
Mm.
That's a big part of the job. And then the other thing is anticipating, oh, this happened on day one. This
How do
may be a
we
problem
adjust?
on day four,
Right. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
not just schedule, but everything, you
Mm.
know. So yeah, I just think I think man, you learn, and learning is not always. I'm going to quote a lyric from John Cougar Mellencamp.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Save some time for sorrow; it'll surely come your way. Prepare yourself for failure; it'll give you strength someday.
Mm. I like that.
You
That's
know,
great.
so experience can be a few lessons too,
Mm.
and some unpleasant things.
Mm. How do you think being a musician informs the way you're a director for film and TV?
I was a director for film and TV before I was a musician.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I picked up an instrument in my 30s.
Oh my God,
Uh,
which one? Was it the
uh,
guitar?
it was the guitar, yeah.
Oh wow.
And but
Wow.
both of those things are processes and collaborations. There
Mm.
is still a person at the front microphone in both scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
That's the director or the producer, or if you're both jobs, and that's the singer or the songwriter, whatever.
Right.
But then there's the people who you need to be the best that they can be.
Mm.
You need to be the best that you can be. How can I help you be the best that you can be? Do you have all the information you need to be the best that you can be and the most
Mm.
efficient that you can be? Um, but here's one thing I know about, you know, every song I've ever written sure sounds a whole lot better when there's a band behind it.
Mm. Oh wow. Coming back to that full circle of you work well in teams, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
I can write a beautiful song and play it well by myself, but it just becomes this other thing when
Mm.
there's a band with it.
Oh, I'm so curious. What do you feel is that thing? How would you describe it?
I'm gonna have to think about that.
That's a tough one. Maybe we'll figure it out today. Maybe we won't. But it's yeah. I can only bring kind of if I were to ask the same question myself, I don't know how I would respond to that. I've dabbled with music in my 30s too now, and I've done acting, and I feel like it touches upon something ephemeral, right? Like that
Yeah.
need to want to collaborate, not just do solo projects. That does speak to that. Yeah, I don't want to put words in your mouth. I really want to figure out what you think about that.
I'm not gonna answer your question directly. I also do
Yeah.
like working alone, but
Okay.
and there's times for it. But
Yes.
I'm writing something very narrative. This recent thing that
Oh,
kind of
cool.
just I can't this is just very much and I'm not even going to tell you what it's about. But
Please.
eventually,
Yeah.
I'm going to need a
Wow.
bunch of other people. I'm
Ah.
going to need people. I'm going to need
Right.
people. I'm going to need people.
Do you think it's
Um,
it's ever really possible as an artist to create something completely alone, or does art really necessitate, like you said, it needs people?
I think art can be created alone.
Mm-hmm.
I think it can. It can't by me.
Okay.
I don't think it can by me.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Or but I think art needs an audience.
Yeah.
Even if it's an audience of three,
Right.
art needs the beauty of live theater, right?
Mm-hmm.
As a performer, you asked about how I got there, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I was a working actor from the time I was 19 to 25. I never
Wow.
had
Yeah.
another job
Wow.
in
Really?
Edmonton, Alberta. Yeah, but I
19 to
was.
25, you only were an actor?
Yes.
You're living the dream that so many 19 to 25-year-olds are thinking about.
I
That's
I mean
amazing.
yeah,
Wow.
I did a touring kids show.
Oh,
I stayed in
cool.
every small town in Alberta, you know.
Wow.
Played
What
at
was
every
the show?
school.
What was the show?
Oh, there was one called, okay, okay. There was
Yeah.
one called The Friendship Fable,
Wow.
and I played a clown named Fergie.
Wow.
And anyway, it was lovely. It was directed by Maureen Rooney, who was the waitress in Souls Road. That you
No way. That was
oh
her. Maureen was great. That's amazing. What a full circle moment. That's so cool.
oh when she came in on the auditions, I'm like, oh, okay.
Wow, that's mind blowing how spiritual to make a movie called Souls Road and to find your director of all those years of oh, wow. Wow. That's
Isn't that
cool.
lovely? Like that was
That's
special.
amazing.
Dude, that was such a special day for me, not just because the old band was all around one table and the great
Yeah.
location, and it was fun, making
Yeah.
movies was fun and stuff. But there was Maureen,
Wow. I didn't know that. That's so beautiful. Wow.
we had our moment because the first time she showed up was in the bar scene because we
Yeah.
hadn't shot the diner yet.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's why there was no speech that day. But
Aw,
and it was your
wow.
last day, so the speech was about you. But anyway,
Yeah, yeah, you've been known to give some good on-set speeches. That's kind of part of one of your charms. Do you feel like you always were that kind of way, or was that something you learned from maybe your parents, were you always in order, or is that something you developed over time?
no, honestly, I think no, my parents both just were so uh, expressive, articulate, direct,
Mm-hmm.
compassionate. Um, and uh, I wish I hope to one day have all the personality of my father. But I
Hmm.
think before I met you, during the pandemic,
Yeah.
uh, I was caring for my father, because all of our work went away. So I was in
Oh,
Victoria, and he had caregivers coming in and out of the house, and
right.
he was mentally still very, totally there,
Yeah.
but his body had failed him. But he was just so unfailingly nice to all of these people, and they kept saying, "Your dad's the sweetest guy," da, da, da. It's my favorite stop on all the things. And I was like, okay, well, if I can be the best customer at the 7-Eleven for this clerk who puts up with all this shit all day, uh, then that's what I want to be if I do nothing else today.
Hmm.
And I can make anybody crack a smile in an elevator.
And was your dad kind of the same way? He would make everyone's sort of day when he would interact with someone?
Yeah, he was yeah, he was
Wow.
a Broadway singer, man, who never had the
Wow.
chance, but
Yeah.
not in an annoying way.
Wow. Well, what's your dad's name? I want to give him a shout out so that his name echoes through the centuries. Tell me, what's his name?
Barry Allen Stewart,
Barry Allen Stewart. And your mother's name?
Pauline Marion Misericordia.
Wow, what a name. What good names for artists. Fantastic. And you were telling me too that your mother made a TV show that is unfindable on the internet. Tell me more about that.
Well, I was like, well, we should really get a copy of this thing,
Yeah,
Uh, you
yeah.
know, and she's like, no, no, and your father asked CBC and they said no, and I'm
It's
like,
gone.
yeah, so I think it was
Wow.
back then they didn't record everything they broadcast live.
Ah, okay,
I
so it was a
guess.
live show.
Oh yeah, it was live.
What was the show?
So I don't know. She
You don't
keeps
know?
telling me the name, and I keep forgetting, and I'm a terrible son.
And did she have you on the show? Were you around? Were you doing acting young? You said you did professionally from 19 to 25, but before then, were you dabbling? Did you always know you wanted to kind of follow dad and mom's steps a little bit?
Yeah, I read plays and
Mm.
stuff. That was what I did for. I mean, I loved sports and stuff, but
Yeah.
we were at church a lot.
Uh-huh.
Um, you know, but I just really liked movies, and I loved
Wow.
theater. I loved going to the theater back then. I loved seeing
Mm-hmm.
plays. It was, now everything is name a 1980s sitcom, The Musical, or whatever.
Uh-huh.
But back when there were plays with actors who said
Yeah.
lines and stuff, and,
Mm-hmm.
I really always found that compelling as a young guy, and I wanted to do that, and
Mm.
or I wanted to try that, and I always thought I could. I always thought I could go back to school, or I could, pick up where
Yeah.
I left off there, but I wanted to give it a shot while I was, maybe young and and in hindsight, I lived in Edmonton. No one was coming through knocking on the door going, "Hey, you want to be on Saturday Night Live?" I should have gone to New York, or I should have gone to Los Angeles, but
Oh, wow. Is there any advice you would have given to a younger version of yourself, or your advice to young people even today when it comes to that kind of dream, like stay where you are? What do you think you would give as advice?
I don't know, man. I would just encourage, I didn't listen to that voice.
Mm.
I just like, wow, it would be really nice to have the chance. You have to make yourself available to the chance. If
Mm.
you're in the pineapple business, at some point you should go to Hawaii,
Absolutely. They
you
make good
know?
pineapple there, yeah.
Yeah. And then you can
Wow.
come back, with your tail between your legs or not.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but, failure is excellent.
Mm.
I mean, it's terrible in the moment. Not everything I ever painted in my life was a Picasso in terms of a music video or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of, oh my God, what was I doing? What was I thinking? When did I think this was a good idea? Et cetera, et cetera.
Uh-huh.
It's all there. You learn from that. You bounce back, you find it in yourself. And, you as an actor, my gosh,
Yeah.
you know, hello, welcome to the industry. Please develop a healthy relationship with these letters N and O.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
turn them into not today.
Well said. Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's not ever.
No,
It's
not
not you
definitely
suck.
not.
It's not today.
Yeah, I'm curious to hear about that because I've never I've learned to sort of change my perspective around rejection and think more, especially because I've made my own stuff and I've been around casting rooms and stuff like that. So I've begun to understand that it's not that they went rejected a bunch of actors and were like, Laurent's the guy, but all those other guys suck. Like it was like, it's rather that literally, like you said, they pop up on your screen and you go, that's the guy. Like they maybe haven't even said the word yet, right? But you have a feeling, right?
Oh, but when you see that, because you do see it, it pops up,
Uh
and then
huh.
you're like, oh fuck, I hope they can speak.
I hope, well, that's it.
Like I
That
hope they
is
don't, or I hope they don't talk like that.
the crucial first seconds, right? That crucial minute, the
Yeah.
crucial 30 seconds that they talk about. But yeah, I think, yeah, if you could string some sentences, that definitely helps too.
And when you know, and
Yeah.
I think when like Coppola famously knew about Al Pacino, and nobody else wanted that. Uh,
Right?
but and also in the case of our movie, and I won't even
Yeah.
talk about the characters,
Yeah.
but there were two very, 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 very good actors who would have been excellent in some other roles. They
Mm.
looked identical to another one of our actors,
Oh, wow.
and then I was like, well, I can't have three people who look exactly like, you
Yeah.
know,
True.
dot, dot, dot. Um, and, so then you look for other characteristics or differentiating features and all that kind of stuff. And it's
Mm.
not that you were bad. It's not that you were good. There was one person who did not get a key role in that. And
Mm.
I really hope that person, because I had a long chat with that person, and
Mm.
it was this is going a different way, but I have to tell you, and I just told that actor how inspired I was by watching that tape.
Right. Yeah. And again, so your no was not like no, not at all. You suck. Rather, it was were affected and it might not be right for this project, but they just won over a fan like that one day,
Yeah.
in the future you might be doing a new film and you're like, now is the time, right? So
And there will
I
be a reason, and there will be a reason for that. Or
yeah,
or 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 maybe somebody who I said a nice thing about this will be that person, and
yeah,
will, that's that actor.
yeah,
So I mean, yeah, I was gave the person bad news, and then hopefully, um,
hmm.
good news. Hey man, you're a great
Yeah,
fucking actor.
yeah, absolutely.
I
And
wasn't
I
like get back to me. Go really work on your technique. What the fuck is that? What the, who cares?
Yeah. No,
You know?
no, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think also I can't quote it exactly how Al Pacino or even I think Bryan Cranston mentions that the audition is the thing, right? Like the audition is the show. Like I've begun to see it that way that like if I get 300 auditions in a year, but I don't get 300 bookings, I don't get upset about it because I got 300 opportunities to do a short film or literal performance in front of people, and I always grow from each and every one. So I don't see them as 300 success or failures, but rather even every single one that I do is a success in itself. And whether it
Yes.
becomes a booking, I think it has a lot to do with, like you said, a feeling when you know, you know. And sometimes I found there have been a lot, especially this year, who've reached out to me after the audition, like you did, and gone, hey, like we really want to work with you, but because of this or that, it's not going to work. And I think that that's just as valuable too in terms of as feedback because you're going, oh wow, like that's almost more valuable sometimes. Like you're like whatever, like if it's not this one, it might be the next one with them. And I've made
Yeah.
a new fan, I've made a new friend, and that's cool too.
Yes. No, we are in the relationship business,
Mm.
and
Mm.
I've also been blunt with people, you know,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
in my opinion, maybe not right because of these reasons, but
Mm.
I hope that people can find. Well, here's what I will say.
Yeah.
I can guarantee there are actors who were not in Souls Road who have been cast in some pretty good, decent little roles
Yeah.
uh, that I had something to do with because I saw
Mm.
them on a sheet and said something.
Nice. Well,
A
there you
couple,
go. Yeah, it's
because
exactly like you
because
said, relationship business, right?
yeah, I was like, okay, this kid auditioned for totally wrong for that, would be great for this.
Yeah.
And and the thing happened. So
Mm.
and that's not something you're ever going to hear about, or the actor's not going to say, "Oh, do I have to
No.
thank?" Of course not. It's just like, hey, you auditioned, you got the part. But people do talk.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
It-
and and why do you feel like that's your now part of your purpose? Like what compels you to be that kind of person for other people without even asking for credit
oh,
or
dude, I used to be an actor.
so
I,
you relate is
I
what you're
want I
saying.
want I want actors to work. I've heard no. I was
Mm.
not. I'm not saying I was a good actor. I was I was a good teammate.
Mm.
I was in a great the Canadian premiere of Sam Shepard's Alive the Mind at the Phoenix Theater,
Wow.
and I was the Equity Apprentice, and
Mm.
Susan Wright was in it, and John Wright. May they both rest in.
Wow.
Tony Yamey was wonderful. Marianne Copperthorne, Wendell Ferguson. My God. Anyway, Jane Spidell. These people were fantastic, and I was
Yeah.
fine. I was good,
Mm-hmm.
but they were fantastic. And I was kind
Mm.
of aware that I just maybe I was too happy a Mormon. Maybe I hadn't experienced life. I don't know. I didn't have
Uh-huh.
like actor trauma. I don't think, apart from the Mormon part, I guess. But
Yeah, right.
which isn't really I quite like I don't mind more anyway.
Yeah.
That's neither here nor there. Uh, but anyway, I wasn't I was good, but I wasn't great, and I knew that, and I've
Mm.
seen really great actors.
So tell me, what was it that at 25 or where you started to shift away from acting into what was that pivot and why? What sort of was inspiring you to go in a different direction and explore directing, or what was the other sort of pursuits that you had at the time?
I just said if I'm not Eddie Murphy by the time I'm 25, I'm gonna cash it in kind of thing.
Wow, your goal was that high. Okay.
But of course, figuratively speaking, of course, I should have maybe moved to a city where, you
Uh-huh.
know,
Yeah,
they
you were
make
waiting in
television.
Edmonton for SNL invite, but it wasn't
Yeah,
coming. It was like Harry
yeah,
Potter waiting for the mail. Yeah, wow.
blackers.
Wow.
But anyway, so I washed dishes for a while,
Yep.
and
Been there.
then I got a job editing videotape at a corporate video house.
Oh, wow.
and I kind of liked that. And
Yeah.
then, music videos were big then, and
Yeah.
I, uh, I'd like, oh, well, I'd like to do a music video one day. Wouldn't that be neat to do a music video one day? And then, so I'm at my corporate job and as an editor, and then somebody couldn't make a meeting, some director, and they said, we need you to come into this meeting and da 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 da. So I went in and it was for the United Way of Calgary, and I said, "Oh yeah, I'll write the script, and we'll give you something great," and da 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 da. So I'd never done any of that before,
Wow.
and it was my job. So I directed it and wrote it and edited it, and I won 5 Alberta Motion Picture Awards.
No way. On your first one?
Yeah, yeah, and I thought that was going to happen every year. Like the thing I entered the next year, I thought was like twice
Yeah.
as good, right? So I
Yeah.
thought, oh, this one will win 10, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Didn't.
Yeah.
Uh,
The humbling lesson, right? It's always balance, right?
Yeah, and so then I was kind of a director in that thing, and and I had a decent job, and I didn't have kids at that point, so I
Hmm.
and an understanding spouse, and I took some of that money and I rented film cameras and camera people and found
Wow.
musicians who needed stuff and shot a lot of independent, like self-financed, low budget. Anyway, but I was doing one here you go, man. I was doing one day, January 4th, 1998. And
Wow.
part of the band's entourage
Hmm.
was their manager, a guy named John McDonald.
Uh, the legend that only the other legends know about. This man.
Yeah,
Tell me about him.
Johnny Mac.
Johnny Mac.
One day, so I did a bunch of stuff with Mike and with Johnny, and really enjoyed those guys. And one day he says, "Hey, can I show you a script I wrote?" And so
Hmm.
I read his script, Souls Road, which he'd written for Lawrence Gowan to be in. And
Hmm.
I was like, "Hey, man, this is really good. What do you think?" "Oh, I'm thinking about Gowan." I'm like, "Okay, well, that's cool. Well, good luck with that. Da da da." And that's
Wow.
awesome. And then Johnny and I would see each other a couple times a year, and then
Yeah.
maybe once a year, and then da da da, and then February of 2023, I got an email from Johnny saying, "Hey, remember that movie Souls Road?" I
Uh-huh.
was like, "The one you wrote for Gowan?" And he said, "Yeah, that's the one."
Uh-huh.
And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, I'm thinking maybe it's time." And then
Wow.
that's when we started that. And then,
Wow.
gosh, man, we were shooting in September of that same year, were we not?
Wow, that's very fast. Wow, from February to September, like that's 7 months of pre-production. So
Yeah, I mean, it was
tell me
kind of
about
like,
that. How did
well,
that
no, no,
how did that go down?
well, no, it was kind of like, should we, shouldn't we?
Ah, okay,
You're gonna
yes.
do this, and then they were working on the financing and stuff,
Yes.
and then there was a strike with
Mm-hmm.
actors and all
True.
kinds of stuff, and there was all kinds of complications that way, and
Mm-hmm.
so um, maybe that would have had casting implications.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I don't know this, but maybe the producers would have been leaning more to American stars.
True, true. Because
Uh,
it was an all Canadian cast, if I'm not mistaken.
yes, and I think that mattered. I think that
Yeah.
really helped us a little bit, in terms of our overall chi.
Yeah,
But
true.
anyway, sorry, if there is a lesson,
Mm-hmm.
I hope, they always say, be nice to everyone you meet on the way up because you're going to see them again on the way down, right?
Yes.
Well, Johnny Mack and I did a lot of living
Mm.
in parallel paths since 1998,
Yeah.
but we always treated each other with respect.
Mm.
And I was like, I haven't made a movie, Johnny. Why would you ask me? He goes, well, I've worked with a lot of directors, since I worked with you, and I thought you were really nice, you know.
Wow. Wow, and he thought of you from that moment early on. Was it sort of clear that he was kind of thinking of you for the director, or he was kind of seeing how you felt about this movie about Souls Road that he'd written?
I think he was just wondering if it looked like a script that I would have seen,
Uh-huh.
this is the proper. It wasn't like, hey man, would you ever think of directing this or anything
Yeah,
like
he
that.
was more just sort of asking for your advice as a friend.
Yeah, yeah, and you know what? And maybe I don't know, man. I'm that's really you're really bringing me back to that place where I'm like,
Yeah.
what was I thinking? Did I
Yeah.
actually think?
Was he, because, yeah, was he kind of testing to see if you were going to be interested? Was he vibe checking you at that point to see he's the right guy? Because it is interesting, too, like how he says, because he'd worked with maybe a few other different directors on different things, and that he picked you, and for it to have such deep significance for you in your life, and for Johnny Max, and probably every single person. Like, we talked about it multiple times, but this movie had some major impact on everybody. So do you think it was that?
And I don't want people to
Yeah.
listen to this and go, John McDonald, IMDb, what
Yeah,
directors
they're
have you
gonna
worked
go
with?
and email it.
Because, there were never any slander towards those things. But I
Yeah.
think because Johnny wrote this movie himself,
Yeah.
that if it was going to be his movie, he maybe just wanted a certain vibe
Yeah.
in that chair versus, because sometimes directors have to be demanding and unpleasant. I understand that.
Right.
I have been that person.
I don't remember that.
Oh, well, I got it all out of my system before I met you guys.
Yeah, probably.
You know, uh, there's a couple things that you look back and,
Yeah,
you just try not to beat yourself up over the
absolutely.
way you behaved or the thing you knew you shouldn't have said, but you think it's really important that I say this. By the way,
Yeah.
world, if run this clip in Times Square, please.
Yes.
Just because you're thinking it doesn't mean you have to say it.
It's very true. That's some wise words there.
Man.
There's the soundbite for this podcast episode. Yeah,
Well, I
yeah,
really feel like nobody cares.
yeah. Yeah, sometimes it's worth sort of asking yourself, is this going to be useful? Is this going to be kind? And if, it's not really responding to either of those questions, sometimes it's worth just keeping it to yourself and then reflecting on it. And if it really becomes imperative, then yeah, maybe you share it, right?
Yes. Yes, if it let me sleep on it, as
Yeah.
Meatloaf said in Paradise by the Dashboard Light.
Yeah.
Sometimes, if it still is a thing in the morning,
It's worth
I,
bringing up, but maybe not in the moment if it's going to really negatively impact for sure. Ah, Joel, this is such a good talk. I mean, I feel like every time I have a conversation with you, it expands the universe of your life so much. I'm always just in awe of the person that you are, and the storyteller, and the humility that you have to just go about in life, and sort of talk about how, you know you're not a great actor when you worked with all those great actors and all that kind of jazz. But I really want to know too, because this isn't an actor asking you this question, but what do you think makes a good actor in your mind now that you have this experience of being a director? And what do you think in you still lives as an actor and makes your process, whether it be in music or directing, even better because of that?
mm, mm. I'm not sure what order I'm going to answer those
I
in.
know, I know, I know. I can't wait.
Uh, Ask me again.
So, first one, what makes an actor a good actor? What are some qualities that you're looking
Yeah,
for as a director?
thank you.
Yeah.
The ability to listen, which I mean, you asked me this question, like, what was the question again?
That's a
Because
good one.
I was thinking about this old story I heard about Harold Prince,
Oh, okay.
the great theater director.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was actually one of my old profs at the U of A told me this story. They said,
Uh-huh.
and whether this happened or not, that they were in a diner in New York, and Harold Prince was at the diner booth right next to him, and it was right before Phantom of the Opera was going to open in New York. And the person was like, Harold, how's the play going? He said, it's going to be a big hit. It's going to be fine. The actors don't listen. Nobody
Wow.
listens to me. You know, the actors, if they'd only listen, I believe was the. Anyway,
Yeah.
I look for
Yeah.
actors that listen, not to
Mm,
me, but to the character. I think the
mm,
essence of acting is, even though you're going to say it every night for, a year, if you're lucky in a play,
yeah.
or once on screen, is if you're responding as if you're hearing it for the first time.
Mm,
You have to listen to the other character as the actor. It's not your time to talk. You're responding to what you did or didn't hear,
Mm.
and you are driving the objective of your character.
Mm.
Um, and then the ability to listen to your director is also lovely,
Yeah.
but that's what I look for in an actor, that they bring me in the moment if I feel they're listening to the other actor.
Mm. Mm. And do you think
Which is really
I,
hard to do when you audition on Zoom on tapes, right?
right,
How do you
whether
you're
you're,
listening to a voice off camera, so someone's
yeah, Zoom
hairdresser.
reader, or it's a reader giving you kind of the reading that you maybe didn't want or didn't expect,
Yeah.
not giving you the right sort of cadence or timing, but then you kind of go with what happens in the moment. How do you think, an actor can work on that quality of listening, whether it be to other actors or to a director? How do you think they can work on that?
Oh boy, how can they work on it? This is one of those. This is terrible.
Or is this
I
the
don't.
one of the
Is
questions
this?
where someone has it already and it just develops over time, or is it even a workable skill, right?
I think some you're either born with it or you're not. I mean, it's not just
Mm-hmm.
acting; it's interviewers.
Yeah.
Boy, oh my gosh, I used to hate interviewers with a clipboard, and then they would ask their question, and then the
Mm,
person would answer, give a multi-layered answer, and then their next question would have already been answered in the question
right.
before the answer to the question, and they'd ask the question.
Hmm.
You know, you're not listening to the person you're interviewing.
No.
Listen to the person you're ask why. That's the
Yeah.
great Larry King. Everyone's say, Mr. King, do you have any advice for any? Ask why.
Hmm.
It's amazing how and as we study our characters,
Hmm.
wow, ask why.
Why am I doing this? Why am I feeling this way? Why are these the words that I have been
You know,
given?
we always talk about what's our objective.
Yeah.
Well, my objective is to, by the end of the movie, get my dying daughter to the surgeon in time to,
Yeah.
why?
Hmm.
Why do I want that? Then everything, the stakes are ramped up on everything, right?
Right.
So, and maybe it can't just be for the successful operation. Maybe it's the way you prove your worthiness to your wife or your parent, or there's,
Yeah.
I don't know whatever the stakes are, but
Yeah.
there's always
Because
a
maybe
why
his
behind.
daughter's the last thing on earth that he cares about.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes, yes. What is the why behind the
Yeah.
objective? It's anyway, then there's, but you got to admit there's some people who just got it and some people who work for it.
Hmm. So now, second question, the follow up. What
What
is
is
it?
it
What
as an
are the
actor?
qualities that you have now as an actor that you bring to yourself as a director or as a musician, or even potentially to some future acting production that will get to see Joel Stewart up on the stage or in front of a camera again?
Okay, okay, okay. I think I have an answer for that.
Okay.
When you're doing a live play or something and the audience laughs and you kind of get back in on the crest of the laughter.
Yes.
I think I have the ability to make some people laugh and then get in on the crest of the laughter.
Yes, I've seen it live.
I also think we can tell a more moving story if we laugh along the way.
Hmm.
Um, and that's just stuff I learned on stage. If
Hmm.
if the audience is laughing, oh my gosh, are they ever going to cry when the thing happens?
Hmm.
Because they're with us. They love
Yeah.
it.
Hmm.
And that's not go for the laughs, because you still, if some nights they don't laugh, but they go, that was hilarious.
Yeah.
It would have been nice if you laughed. Um,
They were laughing internally.
yes, and that happens.
Yeah, yeah.
So you just have to propel the story. But I think as a person who's in a lot of meetings and needs to get a lot of people on side,
Mm-hmm.
in all honesty, I think I've learned a bit of showmanship.
Absolutely. Yeah, it must have a lot to do with directing, getting people to believe in your idea, in your vision, and
That's
believe
the
that you're the guy for the thing. Even like you said, when you did that music video for the first time, you're like, I'm your guy with zero experience, but I got it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I
Mm.
had an old saying back then. I still use it today. Let naivety be your guide.
Hmm.
If you're gonna fail, fail big,
Wow.
learn from it, enjoy the failure,
Hmm.
figure out why.
Figure out why.
Figure out why. And then look at it. It's not for lack of enthusiasm. It's not because you didn't care,
Hmm.
you
Wh-
know?
What would you say is your big why to continue being an artist today and in the future?
Oh, we need we need all this more than ever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we need we need songs and we need plays. Um, I'm not making this about me,
Yeah.
but I've gotten to know a guy who's been working on my record, Tim Vesley.
Mm-hmm.
He's in a band called Rio Statics. They just put out a record inspired by the Great Lakes,
Hmm.
and it has spoken word, and Chief Stacy is on it. Tanya
Wow.
Tagak, Alex Lifeson plays guitar on it. Um, and it's what music can do. And, and all this chatter of immigration and blah blah and hedge funds and
Yeah.
billionaires and
Yeah.
it 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 can make you crazy. And
Hmm.
we need art and story, and we need to lift each other. We can lift each other by doing really dark art too.
Yeah.
But we need to lift each other. We need to be excellent.
Hmm. Beautiful. Well, Joel, we're like at 50 minutes, and I am just, again, astounded by the depth of every conversation I get to have with you.
I'm,
Um,
I'm scared to listen.
I know, but I think this is gonna be pretty good. Again, I think we're going by the seat of our pants. We're
Yeah.
figuring it out. The questions are coming. And your answers have just been just super insightful. And I think again, what's cool about even why I wanted to do this podcast was to start having conversations that I've been having with people that sort of just disappear into the ether about who they are and their story. And I feel there's so many nuggets of wisdom in the people that I've been meeting in this through this art form of acting that I felt it's kind of my responsibility or my a huge present to be able to meet these kinds of people, and I want them to get a place where part of their story can live on and that they can look at and reflect on and go, oh, that was me, or that was my why, or these are my answers to like the questions, like the big questions of who, what, where, when, why. But honestly, I'm just in awe of this conversation and everything that you've shared. But before we go, what do you? Where can we follow your journey? How can we follow it? What's the next sort of big thing we should be looking out for you? And how can more people see your art? Your IMDb page is insane, man. There's 99 credits as director. Like, where can people follow you? Should they? Is your album out there? Can people listen to it? Tell me all those
Oh,
things.
okay. Yes. Well, I'm on Instagram. I don't know what my
Yes.
handle is, uh, but
Look
it's
for Joel
Joel
Stewart.
Joel 9917.
Okay, there we go. There's the handle.
Wayne Gretzky and Yari Curry's numbers
Great,
when they played for the Oilers. My albums, 20th Nervous Breakdown and Manufactured Pop Star, are on all your streaming services.
great.
Please listen to them. I think they're wonderful. I am making a new record. It's actually coming out on February 13th, 2026. Joel Stewart and the
Oh,
Future Hall of Famers. The album is called Songs for Stadiums. And it's a pretty great title, isn't it?
I love it. It's so good. Plus, because I know you would love to do it in a stadium, but you'd just be as happy to do it in a bar in
Oh, but
Nova
oh,
Scotia
oh,
at an
Tony,
open mic.
these
Yeah.
songs are epic.
Oh man, I can't wait to hear it. That's awesome.
You
Wow.
know, Camille sang on a bunch of this.
No way.
I did two tracks when we were in Winnipeg on the movie tour. I went and I
Wow.
got greatest guitar player in the country. Grad Siemens lives in Winnipeg. I was like, "Are
No
you
way.
available? We get a studio, blah blah blah." We got a band. We cut two
Wow.
songs. Camille, I'm like, "You're in town. You can sing." Uh,
Wow.
anyway, February 13th, 2026. So I'm gearing up for that and very excited about that. I think there might be a little bit of a mini tour in the prairies in March
Wow.
and some shows in Ontario in and around that. I have a very
Wow.
exciting audio project
Wow.
I'm not telling you about
This is
because
the one that's secret. It's secret, but
and
in a year from now when this podcast is dropped, they'll know what it is. But I love that you're keeping it secret. And I think this is a cool thing that you're doing here right now. And I wanted to highlight it because a lot of podcasts ask people to reveal everything. And I think what you're doing is really intelligent because I think there's certain things, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, that you've learned this as an artist. There's certain things it's important to really keep private and secret until it's ready to be shared, right? Is
yes,
that it?
the old okay. Here's a songwriting analogy,
Yes,
but
please.
blah, 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 blah. And I said, "Oh, what do you think?" And a friend of mine said, "I think you took it out of the oven too soon."
Ah, yes,
You know, it's the same thing.
absolutely.
Yeah, just took it out of the oven too soon.
Yeah.
No, my strategy there is I want to be a guest again,
Oh, yes, please.
and
Yes,
then I'll
let's
plug
check back
away
in
on that
after
one.
this conversation, after this tour.
Yeah,
Joel, again, I am beyond grateful that you've jumped in on this. I have just begun this sort of journey of like, what is this podcast even going to be? I don't even know really what the title is. I think it's going to be Questions and Actor or something like that. But honestly, brother, thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming on and having this conversation with me. I think it's going to be epic for people to listen to and hear your story and hear what you have to say. And yeah, let's meet up soon after this next project is out or something like that. Whenever you want to hop back on and have a deep chat that we talk about these big questions because you have just such incredible wisdom and yeah, I think it's worth sharing with the whole world.
thanks, man. I
Thank
love
you,
you,
Joel.
bro. Thank you so much.
All right, that was Joel Stewart. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. If you like the podcast, I think you should sort of like it or comment or leave a review or some jazz like that. Follow, and thank you for listening. And scene.